Welcome back to another episode of the Kate Thurman Show. Today we have Dr. Anissa Short with us, and I'm excited to have her here. We're about to have us a good time, Dr. Anissa, thank you for coming and joining us today.
Absolutely, Kate. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. We're gonna have us a good time. We're gonna have us a good time. On the Kate Thurman Show, I tell them in the back. I tell everybody that we don't do bios on here because I love the being authentic. I love us having an authentic conversation, and I believe that no one can talk about you better than you. Can you give us a little bit more information about yourself and what you do?
Absolutely, Kate. Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of this experience. As already stated, my name is Dr. Anissa Short. I am the woman that loves to meet people. I am the social butterfly. I am the connector, as I have been affectionately called. I really believe one of our greatest resources are people, and building relationship and collaborating with others is where you create success. I am the one who would choose the beach and the ocean every time you say where you want to go. I love to shop, and I believe ice cream is applicable all year round. I really do. That's who I am. I am married. I am a TT. I have been engaged in business for, I don't know, for years. I have now engaged in publishing. I've been in publishing now for almost 10 years. So I'm a director of a hybrid publishing company. I'm an author of about 13 titles. I am a champion for women entrepreneurs. I love the Lord and I won't take it back. And I think that's enough.
Well, listen, I love it. You said I'm over here. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, first of all, let's start. Let's start with the ice cream. The ice cream. My antenna
Year
went.
round.
I
It's one of
love
those
it.
desserts that should not be ruled out. You should have it year round.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love me some ice cream too. So that was like, okay, well, see, this is why I love you. So this
We're
is why
kindred spirits. We're kindred
yes,
spirits.
yes, and we both love the Lord. We both love the Lord. I love it. I love it. You said you're author of 13 titles.
13th. As a matter of fact, number 13 launched today.
Ah, look at that. We're gonna talk about it. Let's go and start there. Talk about your number 13 title. What does it entail? Let us know about it.
Okay, well, thank you for asking. Look, the book is entitled "Why I Said Yes." I have one of my author copies here, but you can order it now on Amazon. It comes in Kindle as well as a paperback. "Why I Said Yes" offers 10 clues that gave me clarity before commitment. This book tells the story of how my husband wooed me to become his wife. And I share in the book not only glimpses of that courtship and that journey, but I also, most importantly, or just as importantly, emphasize the 10 characteristics that I observed about him that made me comfortable with choosing to spend the rest of my life with him. I was not nervous. I didn't second guess myself. I was absolute, and God blessed me with a good man. And here's the thing, I didn't have a checklist of 10 characteristics. These were characteristics. When I look back, I realized this is what I believed about him. This is what I saw. This is what he said, but not only that, but this is what he did. And so I offer this book not only as not just simply a glimpse into our journey together as a couple, but also to provide tips, tools, breadcrumbs, and words of wisdom for my sister friends that desire to be married but just don't know where to start.
Amen. I love that. I love that. Well, I need to gonna get me a copy. I'm gonna get you said it came
Don't
out
get you a copy. It's
I'm
available today on Amazon. It most
I
certainly is.
will. Amen. Amen. We're gonna put a link to your book in here so you guys can be able to go get the copy of the book and come back and write a review. Tell us about it. I want to
Absolutely.
think
I
about
only
it.
want 5-star reviews now. Don't give me anything less than a 5. That's all
I'm,
I'm looking.
I'm trying five. The number today five. Five is my number. Five is for grace.
Yes, exactly. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. 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 Y'all heard what she said. I just heard what she said. Give a 5. Don't give a 4. We don't want 4. We want 5.
Yes, ma'am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, it sounds like you do a lot of things. What else do you do? Because I know some of the stuff you do. We want to tell the audience what you do.
Well, my journey into becoming a public author led to, well, let me back up.
Okay.
Before I even wrote my first book, I was already engaged in entrepreneurship. In 1999, I made a decision to become a part of a direct sales company. And within that direct sales community, I became a leader. So I not only sold their products, but I also trained the sales force. I was one of the people that's in the top 2%. So I trained and recruited the sales force. In the course of me doing that, I worked primarily with women. And
Mhm.
I realized there were some common denominators about women, whether they are already six-figure earners or not, whether they work in the boardroom or in the warehouse. There were some common denominators, and then not necessarily negative, but it's just the reality of sometimes our conscious, our confidence is not where it needs to be, things of that nature. But
Mhm.
later, I ended up not only working with women that were in that particular direct sales company, but other women who had home based ventures when I
Mhm.
moved to North Carolina. So, because of the networking events, I had an opportunity to not only speak at networking events, but host my own. So
Okay.
that led to me deciding to write a book to support those home-based entrepreneurs. And that's when I met Dr. Norma McLaughlin. She became not only my publisher, but she became my mentor. And through
Mhm.
my relationships with her, my speaking opportunities expanded to go internationally. I've been on the TEDx stage in South Africa. I have been to Paris, France. I have loved this journey immensely. More books were written since that time, and most of them cater to women. They are, if they're not a business book from that standpoint, they serve to inspire, encourage, and uplift women. And
Amen.
so that led to then the podcast, Conversations with Chosen Pen. I started off as the co-host with her. She bowed out gracefully and gave me the reins. And so now that has gone from Conversations with Chosen Pen to now being rebranded as Amplified, because we're amplifying the voices of authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs so that I
Mhm.
can encompass all of the audiences for which I serve. And now, some of that just led to me sitting here talking with you, Kate. So all of that, the podcast, we have a Voices magazine where
Mhm.
we showcase authors, entrepreneurs, and speakers. As I said before, I'm married, so I wear the hat of wife, home cook, chef, all of the things that we as women do. I love what I do because I'm able to serve the community for which I believe I have been assigned to serve. That's entrepreneur speakers and authors, but specifically women. I just love to stay in that vein of working with women.
Mhm. We need people like you. We need you. Me. I tell you a little bit. You know my story. If you know some of my story, so we need you.
Yeah,
I need you, and
we need
people
each
that
other.
you do. Women that's listening, you need Dr. Anissa, because if you want help, if you want to be coached, if you want, to have your voice heard, she's the one. Trust me. She even get me to get a little bit on the back end sometimes. In a good way. She when she reaches out, I'm like, oh, Dr. Nissa. So she's one of those, you have that type of aura. You're one of those who, if you send a message, I'm like, oh, well, let me see what Dr. Nissa talking about. So I encourage you all to connect with her, because what she does can help millions, and it's going to help millions. Look what she's doing. All that she said. I hope you caught it all, because I caught it. I'm
You're funny.
well, I try to keep it as authentic as possible, because I'm real. And I love how real you are, and everything that you do. You try to keep everything grounded, and you try to make sure that you emphasize that you love working with women. I
I
love
do.
that. Can you
Yeah.
tell me what made you decide to focus in more on women in the things that you do?
Kate, here's the thing that's funny. When I was in undergrad, and I'm a graduate of Lemoyne Owen College out of Memphis, Tennessee, the only HBCU in the city of Memphis. And I can remember where I was on the yard. I started out as an accounting major, and I remember where I was on the yard where I guess it was the voice of God. I was advised to change my major from accounting to general business because
Mhm.
one day I would coach and consult women in business.
Amen.
Now, at that point in time, Kate, the term coach was not one used in the circles like it is now. When people talk about being a business coach or a life coach, they weren't saying that then. That was not a term used. So I was just kind of thrown about how am I going to coach women in business? That made no sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I changed my major, got my bachelor's in administration, got my master's in administration. And then later, I got engaged in the nonprofit sector and was fortunate enough to get my doctoral degree in the nonprofit church administration sector.
Mhm.
Became acquainted with this direct sales company, and then that direct sales company was comprised mostly of women. And then when I became a leader in the company and began to coach and train the sales force, and the coaching, Kate, was not simply on how to sell the product. I did time management coaching, emotional management. I am strategic on how to work how to create a schedule and stick to it, things of that nature. And I found myself like, oh my God, I'm doing what I was told to me that I'd be doing
Mhm.
some years previous, right? Um,
Mhm.
then fast forward, when I said before, I began to work with women that weren't in that particular bubble. They were home-based entrepreneurs, and I was doing some of the same thing. They thought I was so smart, Kate. I had them so convinced. And so
You are.
it just evolved from there. So then eventually I made a decision to leave my great job. I used to work with the federal government. And
Okay.
I said I use that term great loosely.
Okay.
I'm not gonna really tell you what I thought about the job, but anyway, I left
Okay.
my great government job, and I was in a fog, and I was like, "What am I supposed to do now?" You know,
Mhm.
I had invested over a decade, thought that might be where I would stay until I retired,
Mhm.
um, and then God reminded me of what He told me when I was in undergrad. You're going to work with women. You already are. It's time to take it to the next level. And then I was like, but this direct sales company, that was just something I did, got involved in because it was fun. And, it was like something else to do. And he told me this, I would stay there until he told me it was time to leave. But that was
Mhm.
my entrance into what I would be doing later. And of course, through the evolution of things, I just prefer to work with women. I'm a married woman. I don't have a problem with working with men, but sometimes it can get kind of gray when you're dealing with a lot of men. But I really believe that women are the executors. We are the CEOs, really. I know the Bible teaches us that men are the head of the home, and they
Yes.
are, but we're the neck. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Mhm.
the foundation of the home is solidified by the woman. The operations of the home is it takes on the personality of the woman. The children are nurtured by the woman, and there's so much that we have to offer, but a lot of times we don't see it as
Mhm.
such because society has painted us a different picture. And so my voice is one to not only emphasize and re-emphasize and remind women who they truly are, but to also say those gifts and talents that you're using in the boardrooms and on that job can be used to create something for yourself as well.
Amen. Now you see why I said it's like when you send a message, it's like I got to see what Dr. Anissa is saying. Does she yesterday? Yeah, listen. Yesterday I kept sending you a message like, "Oh, I'm sending you a voicemail," because I felt like I got to respond to her right now. It's one of those things.
You're
But
so funny.
just you telling that story is like that's why I feel that way. Like I feel good about your presence. You have a presence about you,
Well,
and it's
thank
a
you.
good thing. And I will encourage anyone to connect with you and work with you because you're awesome. You
Thank
know,
you. Thank you. To
when I
God be the
met,
glory.
to God be the glory. When I met
Mhm.
you, I was like, she's awesome. I remember telling my husband, I was like, I like her. She's sweet. I like her. Like you just because
Well,
you're
you
one.
stuck with me now, Kate. I don't know. You
You
stuck with
so
me now.
I
Mhm.
love
You
you. I love you. And I just felt like when I first met you, it was and I think when the women connect with you and all of the things that you have ahead of you, when the women connect with you, I just see that it's going to be so much that's gonna come and you're just gonna pour out. You just
Thank
have
you.
a grace about you. And
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure I said that because we have
Thank
real
you.
conversations here. I
Yes,
like
ma'am. I love it. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you have I know you have a show, where you work with women. You have a show with your husband, is that correct or am I?
Yes, yes, we do a on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. We host what we call Love and Laughter. It is the Love and Laughter experience. It's a play on our prayer since we've been married is our home will be filled with love and laughter. And so what we do is we celebrate the covenant of marriage. So our conversations are about celebrating marriage, keeping marriage alive, keeping the love and laughter vibrant. And then occasionally we have guests as well, other couples, and we ask them questions. And we had guests last night. So every Thursday, 7 p.m., It's something that we started doing when we lived in North Carolina. We would have what we call a date night experience. And we started it about a year before we moved, not knowing we'd be moving. So
Mhm.
every other month, we would host some type of date night experience. It could be something that's like meeting at the bowling alley or
Mhm.
going to a restaurant or everybody headed to the movie theater. And it would be, 5 or 6 couples, maybe 10 couples. And
Mhm.
then we moved, girl. And I'm like, well, babe, listen, we got something started. We can't let it fizzle out. How can we just pivot? And so
Right.
our pivot as we got settled was to do these lives once a month. And
Mhm.
then our awesome publicist, Mr. Cyrus Webb, suggested that we do it weekly. And I'm like, weekly, so it became a weekly thing. And so now we're doing it weekly. And the conversation is just casual conversation with other couples.
Mhm.
What does it look like to really, what does the word covenant mean? How do you keep love alive? How do you keep laughter vibrant in your marriage? May is our anniversary month. So this month is all about anniversary. So we ask the questions about which was your favorite anniversary celebration. That's how do you plan to celebrate this year? That kind of thing.
Happy anniversary. Happy
Thank you.
anniversary.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. That's your Boaz. I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And because a lot of us, well, I'm not looking. I have my Boaz too. I love it. So a lot of women are looking for their
They
Boaz. What
want, yeah, they do. They want us. Well, that wasn't me. I wasn't looking.
me to see, because
I was living
Boaz,
my life when he was golden.
found me. You're not looking for your Boaz. Your Boaz
I
gonna
wasn't
find
looking for
you.
him at all. Well, you know
Guess
what? And
what?
that's what we get. And that's what I tell younger women, younger ladies that's not married. I said, take your eyes off of trying to find somebody and live your life.
Live your life, and
Live
God
your
will
life.
send you your Boaz.
Right. You got to
Stay
position
in prayer.
yourself to be happy as a single person. And so I tell people,
Exactly.
I said, I was happily single. I think everybody else was more concerned about me being single than I was. I was like,
You
I'm
are correct.
fine.
But look at you. You have your Boaz. Now you guys are encouraging married
Yeah,
couple.
we
What
are.
advice would you have for, well, you pretty much just gave it for a younger woman who's looking for, that was one of my questions. You kind of answered it.
Looking for the significant other.
Yeah.
I
You
wouldn't look. I just now what I will say is my number one objective in speaking into the lives of young people is for them to see their value in themselves. Your
right.
value is not attached to whether you're married or not, period. Because you're valuable. You're a creation, you're God's child, his creation. He don't make no junk, as folks say. And so my first bit of advice is to live your life, go to school, get your education, learn a trade, build a business, invest in property, start your own retirement, buy a house, do those things as a single individual, travel, do what's necessary to become a better version of yourself, get grounded in God, that type of thing. Understand for yourself what your boundaries are and
Mm-hmm.
what your values are as an individual. Because really, until you know that, you'll be easily swayed by, Tom, Dick, or Harry that comes around, right? And I really believe that when we surrender to being happily single,
Mm.
then he'll find you.
Amen. He will find you, but
Yeah.
I love that. I love that advice. I love that advice, and I love what you and Coach Short is doing. And you guys are doing amazing things, and
Thank
it's
you.
good to have a couple that other couples out here that's out here trying to show people what married life is about,
Right.
what it's like to being happily married.
Happily married, right? And that's not to say everything's been perfect in our marriage, because it hasn't been.
Right.
I think the question last night, the couple that was with us, they were celebrating 10 years this month. Alfonso and I be celebrating 28 years this month. And so they asked the question about, do you ever get to a point where things are smooth sailing and you don't have, struggles or intense fellowship or, problems? And I told them, I said, even when you choose to dot every I and cross every T, there are extraneous variables that can come into play that you have to deal with that bring about chaos. The key
Amen.
is not so much the extraneous variables as it is as much as your commitment that the marriage is going to stay. It's us against them, not us
Mm-hmm.
against each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
When the storms come, just put on your raincoat and your umbrella and keep on going. Eventually the sun will shine. And that's easier said than done. That's very cliche. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is at the end of the day, that's really what it is. But you gotta be firm on a firm foundation yourself, individually and as a couple. You must have a community that supports that because sometimes we get cloudy. So we need other people in our ear and say, girl, I know you mad. Come on, let's eat some ice cream. Let's talk about it.
Did you say ice cream?
Ice cream. Yeah, I know you mad. Come on, let's go talk. Let's go talk about it, and we're gonna get through this together. I remember a friend of mine called me about her husband being selfish. She was hot as fish grease, Kate. And I was talking with her. I was like, okay. Oh man, really? I'm like, man. I said, but wasn't he like this when you married him?
Oh, come on.
And she was like, well, yeah, but it's different now because we have a son. I said, why is it different? He the
Uh-uh.
same person, but it didn't matter. It was you didn't see it the same because you pivoted to take care of this new baby. He's still doing what he's been doing. He
Yeah.
don't see anything wrong. I said,
Right.
you have. I said, well, you just go on in and love on your selfish husband, and then just give him an assignment. I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have to tell him. I know. I agree. He ought to be able to just see it himself, but he don't. So just give him some assignments because he would do what you ask him to do. I
Yeah.
said, you hadn't even asked him to do anything, and you are in the room filming, and he's sitting around watching ESPN highlights,
And trying to figure out what's going on.
and he don't know what's wrong. Why he upset? So, we need to be there. I said that to say we need each other because
We
when
do.
Al and I had windows of time when things were cloudy, we had other couples that we can go and have a conversation with. So we need that. We do. We need community.
I believe that. I agree with you
Mhm.
wholeheartedly, especially when you're in a marriage that is an ordained marriage by God. It's
Exactly.
different. It's just because it's an ordained and marriage by God does not mean, like you said, hard
You're not
times are
gonna have
not they
right.
come.
It's unrealistic to even think that. I mean, you have issues as a single person. Why do
Mm,
you think that when you get married, everything is gonna be perfect and you'll be walking on tulips every day? That's so ridiculous. And I think that's the picture that it paints. When we say once upon a time and then they live happily ever after. What is happily ever after? What does
mm-mm,
that look like? You don't
mm-mm,
even know. So then when you start facing challenges or things happen that you didn't just kind of take your breath away, you don't
mm.
know what to do with it because you said, well, this is not happily ever after. It's just a journey. You got to get past all that.
Right. But we shouldn't look for a happily ever after. Just
Um,
be happy every
happy
day. I wake
every
up
day.
for that
Right.
day, because we can talk good, and I love being able to share with other couples and other women the value of loving yourself
Yeah,
first. And I
first.
love the way you
Absolutely.
put that.
Here's the thing people don't know that don't well you wouldn't know this because we hadn't long been acquainted. I was engaged to be married a year before I met my husband, and I
See,
ended the relationship and the engagement because I
see,
value myself. You know what I
see.
mean? And I believe every woman meets someone. Sometimes we marry them. Sometimes we date them far too long, and sometimes we end it. I met him in college by all paperwork, and from the outstanding, from the visual appearance, people thought we were the best couple. I mean, he was a good looking man, he had a great career ahead of him, from a two-family household, was a Christian, everything that seemed like it was fine, but he didn't value me the way he should have, and I
Mhm.
value myself more. So when I ended the relationship, I ended the engagement. I was engaged to be married.
See,
We were
see.
supposed to be married like 90 days or so before. I think I ended it, yeah, about 90 days, 120, 3 or 4 months before the wedding date is when I ended the relationship.
Hmm. But see, that's the thing, but you are with whom you're supposed to be with now.
I believe that most definitely.
Amen. I am. We done had us a good conversation. You see how the time that flew with us
Yeah, honey. Time flies when you're having fun.
when you're having fun and good conversation. Can you tell us where our audience can connect with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you use the ampersand Dr. Anissa Short, it'll take you both locations. I'm on Instagram as well, Dr. Anissa C Short on Instagram. And then, of course, if you're interested in more information about the publishing platform for which I serve as the director of the Chosen Pen Group, you can go to our website, chosenpengroup.com.
I love it. I love it. We thank you for joining us today. We thank you. We thank you. Thank you. This has been another episode of the Kate Thurman Show. Until next time.